our fearless leaders, Amy, because it's Administrative Professionals Day and it would not. And I think the priceless contributions that all of our secretaries and administrative assistants do are way underappreciated. And it's, you know, when I was on council, I wouldn't have been able to do anything I did that wasn't without her support, her office's support. So I want to make sure that she feels that we appreciate her, especially because she's our group's leader. Next, I did not have anyone signed up for citizen comments, so I will take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second? We have a second? Okay, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
That was unanimous. Okay. So we're going to move on to, well, kind of where we left off. So what's up there is 6, map number 6. That was kind of the last iteration of where we left off. And the most eloquent way to say map 6, it really just kind of cleaned up the southern borders of 3, 4, and 5. The interaction between 2, 4, and 5. No changes were made to districts 1 and 3 that we had previously drawn in our map number 4 that we had all unanimously voted on. So tonight, and also previously in the minutes and what was given out beforehand, there were some census blocks that we'd identified during our last meeting that were primed to be split, or we will be recommending them to split prior to next census being taken. So, anyone has any questions about the map that's up there, or any information that was presented during our last meeting, or any of the minutes, or any of the things that we talked about? We can talk about that now, or we're just going to start the process of maybe voting on this map tonight to see if it's either going to be map 1 or map 2 that we present to, option 1 or option 2 that we present to council on June 6th or 7th.
And you haven't had any feedback from anybody?
I have not received any feedback from council
Really?
yet.
At your door?
No, and I didn't, this week was uneventful for residents just popping over. But I did receive a call from the mayor he was asking about the process and how, I guess he had gone through and looked at some of the maps and noticed that he was no longer in the district that he was previously, and that he would be moving into a new district. And so he asked kind of how we got there, and I kind of explained it to him, and that was really, it's like, okay, great. So that's, but I did not receive any feedback or response to my kind of update that I issued the memorandum, but I didn't write it as if it was needed to be responded to. It was kind of, here's just an update, you know. If you have, I've always made it clear that if they have a glaring problem or whatnot with anything that's going on in this room during these meetings, that they would reach out to me and address, but I've not heard. Yes, ma'am.
Is that on this map right here that he's not in there in his current house?
Okay, he's building a new house.
Okay, because I was like, I live literally across the street from
I
him.
know,
and I was
yeah,
like,
so
wait,
where-
what? I'm not in District 1?
Right, no, so where he currently resides, but right, he is in the process of working to build a house, yes.
Correct.
That would have been in District 5.
Right.
Now it's in 4.
Who are we talking about?
Mayor.
Oh, okay.
Good evening. So with that being said, we can further kind of discuss this and you know, we don't, if there's not a lot that's bubbling to the top anymore, the idea was to use all 10 meetings, but if we don't have to, we don't have to use all 10 meetings. But it's up to everyone in the group what you know, there's nothing that says we cannot continue to move lines around to try to improve the numbers.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
District 1 and 3, the black dot, so that'd be District 1. Did we base that off of the candidate's current living situation or where they're moving to?
the District 1 candidate dot, their current resident and their moving to address is within the same area as the black dot currently is.
Okay.
It's maybe like 500 feet away, but it's 500 feet more in District 1.
Okay.
So where the dot is now is kind of on the edge where they're currently residing, but it's my understanding that they're moving like a little bit northwest. Their new house is a little bit northwest. So it does take into account that.
Well, I was gonna say since we've talked about drawing the map with the information that we have now, and I mean, I don't know, like technically, he hasn't closed on a house, and so I wouldn't want to,
Well, he lives at his current address that's on his driver's license, which has to match his voter registration, and his application is for the address that's where that black dot is.
okay, then that's perfect.
That's the current information we have.
Okay, cool.
But when it was brought to our attention that they are moving or in the process of it, it's only further into the district as it's currently drawn.
Apparently it's a house under construction that
Right.
they're moving to.
Were you wanting to like clean up that line? Is that where you were going?
I wanna make
You
sure.
realize, yeah. So I think when we talked about last time was letting everything, let it all shake out. At that point, if we wanted to make address any lines that were in District 1, because the two candidates within District 4 those lines wouldn't move to adjust those. But if we were to make an adjustment for the District 1 post the election, we could do so post-election. But there's no point in wasting our time before that.
When we drew this map, did we purposely have that little finger that's going north on Marsh at the bottom of District 5?
Hold on, I gotta come look and see what you're talking about.
No.
Hey, come on up, where are
By
we
the
at?
police station.
Yeah, like right here.
That just needs to be, I think if she was to blow that up and click on that, it's
It's a
probably a
street,
street.
yeah.
And you can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if
Oh,
you
yeah.
click on that, it's gonna take that whole line, it'll have a line this way.
Okay.
So I think what they put those areas is to connect candidates to play, or to connect incumbents and candidates to areas. If you ever looked at the congressional map for Texas, they use railroad tracks and easements and everything. Rivers to connect, residents to their.
To your voting precinct.
So, but right, and there's a couple areas that the street's drawn like that, and that's just kind of what it all falls. So good question. Anything else? Any other questions or comments, or good, bad, and different for map 6? Because we're gonna delve into, after we vote and decide if this is one of our options, we're gonna delve into which option is better than the other.
So did map 6, from my perspective, it left me in the district I'm currently in. Did this affect anybody else that was in a process of being moved? Was it 4 was the other one we liked, or was it 5?
Yeah, 4. So we'd like to put up 4 versus 6, please, like we discussed, just to see side by side.
PDF's okay?
Yeah, PDFs are perfect.
So wasn't there like 4 or 5 of us that under 4 we were
Moved out?
being moved? So does 6 reduce the number of us? Not that it makes a whole lot of difference in terms of whether it's a good map or bad map, but.
I would still be moved.
Yeah, me too.
I moved either way.
You're moved either way?
Either way.
I'm safe.
You say?
You're saying, yeah.
Thought I live right
I
next
was
to
here in
Tracy,
3.
so.
I was here in 3
Yeah,
now,
if we split you up, it'd be,
and this one's moving you to where
I like
4?
that cardinal rule of
I
don't
think
split
6
vote.
moves me
Sorry.
2 right now.
You did that.
Once we have 2 that we like, are we scoring those?
No, you're right. I'm
Well-
Or like that scorecard you made? us
We
for,
can
like,
use,
Game of
yeah, but
Thrones?
that'd be great to use. We could use our scorecard again, or we're really gonna delve into
Oh, yes, thank you very
a
much.
lot more in depth, because one's gotta rise at the top
Yeah.
from those two. And what I felt like I thought was before last meeting has changed since we got this meeting. So,
Repeat that, what you thought what?
what I felt was if I had a vote in this group, what I felt was the top map
Oh, changed.
It's
That's,
changed, now we're here. And I've gotten no, like before I was getting a lot of crazy feedback. Now it's gone quiet. So,
no news is good news.
sure.
You're saying you were getting hate mail again?
No hate mail this time. This will be the third week, so we're good. I haven't had any, like, I think what happened is all the mailers went out. So everyone was like notified of what's going on, and then they started looking into it, and then it's like, because nothing's changed from what we were doing before the mailer to after the mailer.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, what was the biggest objection or, oh God, the word I want to use not escapes me, but from the people that you,
Change, period.
it's just changed.
Just change.
No, I'm old and I hear that.
Just change. There's no, I didn't feel any, after explaining it, there wasn't anyone that was left feeling that way. It was just kind of the change and
Right.
the way it all kind
I
of.
just wondered if there was any particular complaint or objection.
What are you doing? You're messing everything up.
Or congratulations is the other word I was, anybody say, hey, yeah, this is great, you know?
Not yet. Nancy could chime in, Bronson could chime in, it's just from stuff that you were, when you're on council, is you can make a decision, and if it involves some type of change, whether it was adding a stoplight somewhere, putting some separators in a road, approving the development, like the little subdivision across from the hospital 20 years ago. It's 20 houses, but the neighbors on Veronica and Treeview said it was gonna ruin their neighborhood because the traffic was gonna be horrendous. Because it was just change, and the reality is, there's 20 houses, so there's 40 cars, 24 hours a day. That was gonna be like one car every 15 minutes. And so, on Brookhaven, or Brook Hollow, we subdivided a lot. There was
We did that?
two,
I heard that on
two
P&Z.
full acres, so acre lots, and most of the lots over there are half an acre to an acre, and it was gonna destroy the entire neighborhood. And I still have a guy
Yeah.
over there.
Oh, and we
that won't talk to
were
me.
allowing the houses to be moved in and out, so it was gonna create a sawtooth effect down the street, you know, and so it was one of those things that, you know, talking about, I was on P&Z when he was on council, and it was, it seemed like a polarizing thing. It's not, it really wasn't. You know, on council, I fielded a lot of, I got a new fence and my neighbor's honeysuckle is ruining my new fence. Neighborly stuff that it was almost like if you were, go be a neighbor and talk to the neighbor, you'd resolve it. But they wouldn't do that, and it was like, just who can I involve? You know, so that was a lot of the things. But aside from that, the people that reached out were just like, just asking more questions than, hey, what's going on? How's the process been? I noticed that I could be in a different area or different district. And once you kind of explain what we're working with and that it has to change, there's no way we can stay with what we have. And that we're making the most logical and sensible and responsible. We're doing everything we were tasked to do. This is what we end up with. It kind of,
Residents are doing it, so it's not
right.
just council.
I went to the National Night Out, or whatever, the Farmers Branch Night Out, and they had like something very small put up about it, but I talked to the council people, and everyone was just really appreciative of everything. They didn't say anything one way or another. They were just thankful.
We're just glad that they didn't have to do it.
I would think that if I was on council, having a group diverse as this that did all the hard work and lets you just kind of read the recommendation and kind of digest it, I'd be pretty appreciative of that, because it can get very daunting. You get overwhelmed with information. Any other feedback or? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Yes? See, you say something?
No,
Oh,
feedback, I think.
okay, what we're gonna do is you probably need to use that thing I had a couple weeks ago. I don't have it with me.
Oh,
A rating?
A rating sheet.
Yeah.
Did I email it to you?
Oh.
To send out, maybe?
The ballot or whatever.
The score thing?
Or-
If not, it's in my
It
emails.
was just, it was a,
I may have kept it.
things that you get from every single place you go.
I've got a copy here, Brian.
Oh, perfect.
What we want to do is see if I could.
Actually, I've got 2 clean copies.
Yay!
There you go, there.
There's a reason we invited you.
Two per person, please. Yes, ma'am, thank you.
I saw my two, so.
Oh, then if you got 2, there you go. Yeah. So,
See the trees.
That's right.
yeah, we don't want to be a stump town.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because I know that my neighbors know that I'm on this commission. And I haven't had one comment from one, and I see my neighbors. I mean, I walking their dogs and all this stuff. I see them all the time. I haven't had one comment from one neighbor, which is, I thought I'd hear a few, you know?
When I was on P and Z, like, they would wait till I got home. Like waiting outside. I mean, I'd see them like.
Turn the lights on as soon as you.
See me be on the porch and see me pull in, and then I just like, oh, okay. So, it's great.
Okay, so these are the 2 we're voting on,
So this is Plan 4 and Plan 6.
but they look so similar. We don't have any.
Oh, these are very, very different.
You gotta look at the,
First off, the numbers are a little different. They're they're not just a.
Show the numbers side by side?
Okay, here's what I'd like to do. Can we scoot that up a little bit, maybe, and put some numbers at the bottom? Okay. That'd be great.
Total population, VAP.
VAP.
Yeah, let's do VAP. I noticed one thing in the mailouts that Amy sent us about the voting population, the voting age population, and 2021 registered voters, Spanish surname registered voters. It looks like
District
this.
2,
You guys probably saw it.
number,
And,
where's the info? Let's point out.
Even looking at voting age population, excuse me. I saw that even though District 1 is heavily Hispanic, it's what, 75% or something, I can't remember.
Yeah, it is. Mhm.
Excuse me. With all registered voters, if you look at that column, District 5, which is also labeled wrong, it's this District 4 over here. Anyway, District 5 has almost 2,000 more registered voters, excuse me.
You need a water?
Yes. Than 1. It's, 1 has, all registered voters are 3,076. District 5 is 4,957, a little less than 2,000, which I thought was interesting, really. All the rest of these are 4,300, 4,400, 4,400. But there's a huge difference in registered voters, so I think maybe if I was on the council, I'd say, hey, let's get out and do a drive and see if we can get people in District 1 to get registered and to vote. I think everybody should vote, you know?
So did we talk about this, Sherry, at one time, that the District 1 has a much younger population, and that's a large part of why the registered voter numbers are lower?
I think we did at some point.
Come to think of it, yes, we did talk about that one meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
because of the age, yeah.
So that's,
This is Bob, if you can just a second. It's, where you have a largely Hispanic district, the number of voters, registered voters, is almost always going to be lower. And the reason is, I think somebody just said, it's a younger population, so there are more children. There's probably a lower level of citizenship among adults than in some of the others. And so that's just sort of what happens. And there was a case that went to the Supreme Court for people saying, well, you have to redistrict or you shouldn't have to redistrict by the number of voters or eligible voters. And the Supreme Court said no. And, you know, if you're trying to make a district like District 1 with a strong Hispanic presence, which after the court case we pretty much have to do, that's just going to happen, and it happens really everywhere in the state.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
And I've tried several of those cases, and been an amicus in that Supreme Court case and so forth.
So that's not something we really are pressed, or we have to
That's right. I
consider
mean, I think
heavily.
it's not very likely that you're going to be able to affect that. And as I say, it's just necessarily going to happen where demographically there are different age groups, and that's a huge part of it. And the citizenship level is a part of it too.
Right.
We could, and by the way, one of those cases was out of Irving. I represented Irving in it, and you could look at the districts, and sometimes citizenship would be an issue, but in other districts you could see it was much more age as the issue. That the Anglo population was a lot older, and also more likely to register to vote because older people register more frequently than younger people, even if they're old enough to vote.
Right.
That's what it is right
It's massive though. I think I've got the leverage. Thanks. That's what the current city council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we have in front of us is
Thank you.
a map. One side, we need to put a 4 at the top, and the other side, we need to put a 6 at the top. And so I think this will be preliminary. We already know what 4 meets as we've done this test, but we haven't done this for 6. But I think once we answer these questions for both maps again, we can use these questions to drill down and really figure out which map rises at the top by using some of these questions to further investigate the map. So quickly, let's go ahead and, since we haven't seen map 4 in a while, let's answer 4 again to make sure it hasn't changed in our brains.
So just to, it looks like the only difference is 4 and 5, isn't it?
And 2.
So basically the maps are the same for 1 and 3, both of the maps are the same. Now, 2, 4, and 5, the southern, or the southern boundaries are changed. 2 is the same?
I think it's like 4 and 5.
Oh, 2 is the same, wow, so it's just 4 and 5.
right?
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, then that makes me believe that as a commission, you all should be proud that we don't have to change 1, 2, and 3 twice.
And I was looking at the red lines, that,
Yeah, you have to like tell
that-
your brain
Yeah.
to switch.
it's,
Yeah.
it's very different.
Okay, yeah.
Take a second too. I was like,
It's very different, right? And what it is
I'm
it-
not dumb, like, yeah,
Oh,
no,
what
I'm
it
like,
is
oh
it-
my
this, yeah.
God.
You're like tracing. What's the difference?
Sorry, guys.
Been a long day.
It's been a really long day.
Right.
No.
Okay, do it.
Did I just hear you say that you want us to answer this according to map 4?
Just to make sure that your feelings haven't changed.
So that's the one on the left, right?
Right. Yeah, just to make sure you don't have any second thoughts, because we've already all unanimously voted upon this being,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I understood.
but we've also done more exercises that involved, it could make you change. You know, there's one number that we don't have for both of them, and that's the deviation.
She put it up there.
Up there.
Oh, I
I
can't.
just tapped.
Oh, perfect.
Just think of everything, Sherry.
6, she just does it, just does it. So 3.37.
The red lines are the current.
Yes. Which both of them are like light years beyond where we are currently. Okay, I'll give everyone a couple more minutes to finish up. Okay, so we're gonna ask the question. I'm not gonna read it. Well, I probably have to read it, okay? Does the map have easily identifiable geographic boundaries? Does everyone agree that map 4 have easily identifiable geographic boundaries?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a yes, okay? So I'm gonna put a yes for the group, okay. Does the map maintain communities of interest in neighborhoods in single districts? Oh, you have a question?
Not as much as 6, but
I said no.
Yeah,
Okay,
I said
so
no.
you said no, so you, okay, that's interesting. Are you saying no based on furthering our knowledge with map 6 or just
Yes.
no in general?
No compared to
No.
6.
No compared to
no
6?
compared to 6.
Okay, well. Perfect. So we had some yays and nays. Okay, 3, does the map utilize districts composed of whole voting precincts? Yes.
Yes.
Composed of whole voting precincts? No, because we can't do that, because the precincts are like 5,000 people, it's huge. So that's kind of like one of those trickery questions. It doesn't, but we're not tasked with doing that. That's such a
Census
county
blocks.
thing. Yeah, it's a county thing, so, yeah.
Alright.
Now, the next question is
It's a
one.
yes.
Does the map split census blocks?
No.
Correct. Okay, does the map reflect the new population distribution based on the existing districts?
Yes.
Okay, does
Yes, sorry, no.
does the map have a total district population deviation of 10% or less when compared to the ideal size?
Yes.
3.37, so that's a yes. Does the map utilize compact districts composed of contiguous territory? Yes.
Yes.
So on that one, I believe that 6 is more compact than 4.
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
So I put that 6 was more compact than 4. So that was another one that scored on my page, a no compared to 6. But we'll save that for later. Okay, does the map preserve incumbent constituency and potential candidate relations?
Yes.
Yes. Is the map narrowly tailored to avoid racial gerrymandering?
Yes.
Yes. Does the map fragment a geographically compact minority community or pack minority voters? No.
No.
No, we didn't do that. Does the map comply with criteria set forth in section 7.10 of the city charter?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So when we look at that, number 2, does the map maintain communities of interest in neighborhoods in a single districts? I noted that we had some dissension and that no compared to 6 was mentioned. And then on question 7, does the map utilize a compact district composed of contiguous territory?
And 6 is more compact.
So no again to compare to District 6. So let's flip this over. Let's do the same thing for 6.
Are we comparing to 4?
You need to rate 6 as if you've never seen 4. But it's gonna, you can't really do that because we already had 4. But when we had done this, we had done this based on maybe map 3 that night, I think was the first time we saw this. So it was just kind of a single ply. But this needs to be based on our total knowledge of what we've done today. 4.92. Okay, I'll give you another minute to get it wrapped up. Okay. So, map 6 now. Does the map have easily identifiable geographic boundaries?
Yes.
Perfect. Does the map maintain communities of interest and neighborhoods in a single districts?
Yes, for the most part.
That's what we've done.
I wrote yes, better than 4.
Yes.
Better than 4, I would agree,
Better than
but still
4,
no.
but still
Right.
no.
Better than 4, and probably, in order for us to meet this any better, we would undo things down the page. Remember, we kind of went on map 2 that night, we kind of went through the 2 versus 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so does the map utilize districts composed of whole voting precincts? This is that trick question. No. Does the map split census blocks? No. Does the map reflect new population distribution based on the existing districts? Yes. Does the map have a total district population deviation of 10% or less when compared to the ideal size?
Yes.
Yes, 4.92. Does the map utilize compact districts composed of contiguous territory?
Yes.
It does, and it does it better than map number 4.
Right.
And it's just, the maps are hard to explain, but it's, the way 5 and 4 interact now is far more compact when you look at 5. Okay, is the map narrowly tailored to avoid racial gerrymandering?
Yes.
Yes. Does the map fragment a geographically compact minority community or pack minority voters? No. Does the map comply with the criteria set forth in section 7.10 of the city charter?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, does the things we just discussed on number 2 and number 7 make map number 6 better than map number 4?
Yes.
The floor is open.
I think so.
Okay, why do you think so?
Because it is more compact. You have, it's not all over the board as much as 4 is.
Right. Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I think what we were able to do through the whole process is we decided that west of Chapel really we took that out of 5 in the northern part, and then we put that back into 2, and those neighborhoods are more geographically suited, as did we do on the neighborhood down, I think that's south of, on number 5, south of, the creek, really. And even though we weren't able to take Johnson Park out of 5 because of population
Density.
extremes, that might have better been in 2 or something, but it kind of maintains the consistency, the contiguousy of the 5. And I think at one time there was an issue, is it down at number 3? I'm sorry. Yeah, at one time that was split down there. That is at Little Creek, is that?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So I think he's talking about where 5 jumps over Josie Lane and goes all the way over to 3, right where Malin Park and Nancy lives. It actually, at one time, I think map 3 had that going all the way and taking Villa Creek to where Sam Moon is down there.
Yeah,
I think that's better suited to where it is now.
Right, okay,
Anyway, those are just a few things.
okay. Anyone else?
I like that it also spread out the apartments into 4 of the 5 districts. Otherwise, it had, 4 was really heavy on it, 1 was really heavy, 1 and 3 were really heavy on it. So this one gives 5 a portion of it.
Right.
And it's, I don't think it's truly a really significant issue in terms of what we're trying to
Do, but it's
accomplish, but one
interesting,
that-
interesting data.
Yeah, because generally in off-year elections, you don't have as much turnout from apartments. And so it disperses, or it kind of makes it a little easier or more, for the lack of a better word, one man, one vote. That you're going to have similar number of people voting each off-year election when you're spreading out the apartments.
Give me a coaster.
Doesn't give all the apartments to the council.
Thank you.
Well, that kind of goes back to that whole thing too about trying to get as many people involved in Farmers Branch elections and everything as we possibly can. And that's kind of goes to that.
Right. Anyone else have feedback on our 2 questions?
4 is just so big, but there's nothing you can do about that because there's not a lot over there right now. But that will change, but that's not our problem.
What's the total population of 4 on 6? Not the VAT, total population.
719.
Total. Total.
5719.
Yeah.
Just, don't put it up there, but just tell us the total population of 4 on 6.
Yeah. It was on that table.
Yeah,
I
it
think
said
we just couldn't read it.
57.
No, that was
No,
a vote.
that's
Oh,
bad,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Oh.
No, that was.
4 and what?
Like in all
The
of
total,
the
just the total population. Map 6.
It's 69, 12, and 4, and 72, 64, and 5.
There you go.
72, so, okay. And I think when we discussed this last time, we know that 4 is a little, it's not even relevant. We talked about
I
this
know.
relevant comment.
It's
I'm not
hard
even
not
gonna
to-
make it, but we know the growth,
Yeah.
you know, so it's not even.
Well, I think that we were aware of that, and we were.
Right, well, I get it, but I've preached the entire time not to consider irrelevant information, and that's just the most
But then
irrelevant.
we do, and then
It's irrelevant, so I'm not gonna
We're
finish the
playing
topic.
3-level chess here.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because what if all those people vote?
We're gonna have 15,000 people turn out in an election, which would be a first. Okay, so,
All right. So who'd have thunk it?
right.
We found something better than 4.
So, yeah, exactly right. I thought okay, so
Compared to the last one.
I'm gonna, earlier I made a comment that when we started this process 1 meeting ago, prior to the last meeting, I didn't think there was a map better than 4. In that meeting, we worked through and created map 6. And prior to this meeting, after looking at both of them, I think map 6 is far superior to map 4. I just, I really do, really like it. And that's not the map in my memorandum that I recommended, but that doesn't, we can change that anytime we want.
We can set up another map.
We can set up another thing, but knowing that, we need to elevate one of these to the top.
So do we take a vote?
So we could take a vote, and so what's gonna happen is we need to make a vote because we're gonna do this and play around. In 2 weeks, we're gonna mess with the map. We're gonna give ourselves like 70 minutes to play with it based on our election results. So we don't go down a squirrel hole and waste a whole night.
Yes.
Because we need to start getting somewhere. So we'll do that on our next meeting, but what it's gonna do is it's gonna let us know where this map still needs to be. What we talk about, like, so if 6 gets elevated to the top, we need to know that. That needs to be discerned before we start messing with the map next time. Because I'm not sure that, I don't have any, I'm out of licenses, but
Anybody else?
once we start doing that, it's almost like you can think of it as a clock. You can rob a little across all the way around and start doing that, but I don't want to undo everything we just spent the last 8 weeks doing. 9 weeks by then.
I think importantly, that we have arrived at map 6 through the entire commission's input. Everyone in this room has had some kind of input in it, which I think is amazing. God, can you imagine if our US Congress could do something like that?
It won't happen.
Or even our state legislature?
But I think if you ask the attorneys, is it rare or is it normal to have what's the word, unanimous votes? Like, is it pretty split or is it pretty, like with other cities, is it this easygoing? Are we easy or are we hard, basically? Okay.
Good answer.
He was fishing.
I think y'all are doing a very good job. You have a lot of consensus, and in other cities, it's split. Some of them, there's a lot of consensus, and I've got 2 or 3 where there's not much consensus at all.
Right.
But this is one where it's been a much more pleasant process than a lot of them.
Well, that's good, but I think that's important information because if this was to be challenged, we have video of everything we say and do and talk about in here. And if they're to have that become admissible in court, and you have the people look at, it's not like we sat here and argued and we're fighting about it. We actually are a diverse group that came together and created a map that's far superior than where we are. So I look at that as, that's important information that if this was to be challenged, I mean, there's not like someone sitting here like the 12 Angry Men picking one off and starting around the table. It's not that. I mean, there's not a crack in our crystal ball yet. I'm not saying, but we're gonna need to get to a vote of 6 to 4 versus 4. And then so after the election results come in, we're gonna limit ourselves to, we might bring a kitchen timer and turn it on and see what we can do to the map and see how we get, because once you start changing one little thing, what it's gonna do is the thing that what's will change is up at between 1 and 2 at the top. You can make changes there that affect the west side, and it really starts changing the numbers, and then you have to start robbing those people from somewhere else. So we all know this, but go ahead.
I want to make a motion.
Oh, well, I want to hear it.
I would move to adopt Plan 6 as the primary map to work off of after the elections.
After the elections, what about if the election results are, I don't know what the election results are going to be. So is that, you're saying that this is going to be the map for us to work on no matter what the results are?
Well, I was actually thinking about for after the elections, and then I was going to make a motion to adopt Plan 6 if it never changed after the elections. I want to be respectful, because I have heard individuals wanting to, I think we need to just have a good look at it after the election. If nothing changes, then everything's going to stay the same, right? But if there's some changes that change, then those that want to have the ability to look at it, I at least want them to have the ability to look at it.
Understand, okay, so let's hear your motion, make sure they have it, because I messed it up, so say it again.
I move to adopt Plan 6 as the primary map to review
Moving forward.
moving forward.
Do we need to do it as a motion, or we just as a kind of a show of hands that that's the one where we're leaning towards and?
What do you think, Kevin, does it make it more official?
It's up to you all.
Let's just take it, let's have a second. Let's
I
keep-
second.
Okay,
Yeah.
all those in favor? Let's see, everyone, I saw it all. And if I could vote, I'd vote too, yes, very good.
And just for the record, the way I interpreted that motion is,
There is
again,
some that wanted to-
it's gonna be still subject to review after the election. Because really the big vote is really when you vote on the final report that you're gonna submit to council.
Right.
So you're still not locked in until you've made that vote, so
Right.
you're still good.
Yeah.
What now? I'm just doing good.
We are moved to adjourn.
I have papers to break.
Okay, so for the next meeting, we're gonna talk about, so by the next meeting, we'll have results. We won't have we won't have canvas results, but we'll have results. And
They'll
we'll,
rarely change, unless it's it'll be really close to the point that we risk needing to have a recount, it won't change.
The last time we had a recount in the city of Farmers Branch has been.
Not since I've been a city attorney.
Big now.
I thought we had a space on that.
I
know, I was like-
she had, on her election, you were running against Blair. Because it was like 12 votes. It was 12 votes on the runoff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like that just happened.
right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
And it was literally one vote.
I didn't know.
Wasn't it just one vote? Yeah.
One vote different. I
Yeah.
thought her
What?
12 was different. It was-
No, Merritt's
Yeah, I
was
thought
one
my
vote.
22 was bad. It was close.
Yeah.
Wait, one vote from a runoff?
Yeah.
One vote from a runoff?
Merritt.
You were like, we get it.
And that's mandatory. I mean, that's one of those mandatory.
Wow.
What's it, Bronson, what's the process if they go to runoff for one of the candidates, like for District 1 or District 3?
There's no runoff because it's whatever, there's not 3 people running.
Yeah, it's just-
There's 2.
Yeah.
I mean, like if it was like really close?
They're
Oh, I
good.
guess it would just be.
No,
Recount.
recount, but yeah, no
So
runoff.
that
Right.
might push it past the May, that
Oh,
first meeting in
that's what
May.
it was.
What's it, is there like a timeline for recount?
There's a, you know, it kind of depends, if it's within a certain percentage, like 1% or less, it's almost automatic. If actually, I think it's even less of a percent, I think the percentage is even lower than that, it's automatic. But I just don't think there's gonna be one. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know, right. But if there is, we don't need to change what we're doing based on that. I would think whatever the results are, we would cruise with that and do our little exercise and keep on moving forward. We have a deadline.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm going to Germany, so it's this. I'm taking a group of residents to Germany. So with that being said, we're gonna have on the 7th, I think, or maybe the 7th?
And is it, okay, so I don't want to open the can of worms, right? But, so we've considered all of the candidates and the incumbents of their residents in drawing the different districts.
Right.
And so I guess I'd like to just have some better understanding as to what we would actually be looking at. Like I've heard individuals say, we want to look, I want the opportunity to look, and that's fair. I guess I'm just trying to understand if we've already incorporated it into the district. What would be the,
I don't know.
You're already in
I
it,
don't
right?
know, but
So-
I'm gonna guess, I can guess.
Great,
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna be the
please,
guesser
yes.
tonight.
Because they're both already in the districts.
I'm gonna be the
Right,
guesser.
Already.
If we were to, and this is not even the way to write to guess. We shouldn't even be guessing, so this is meant not to be right.
Are you guessing who's gonna?
I'm not guessing.
Yeah, don't.
We're not guessing, but things would change. And I'm not even one of the people that would, I'm not sure that it would be stronger than where we are. But we need to let everyone hear that out.
For sure, for sure. Right, and that's my point. I guess I'm just wanting to, so that my mind can start to kind of work that direction is, What
So
would
there's
be
only
the
two options.
concern?
This line can change, and this line can change. There's two things that can change, that's it. There's
Gotcha.
nothing that else can change because it's not relevant to what we're doing.
Oh,
So
makes
election
sense.
results only change two things, this line or that line, that's it.
Okay, so,
And because what happens is these are so far within four, nothing's gonna change.
Sure.
And this represents, what, 81 people? And it's never really, the creek's always been a separator of
Yeah.
that
So
neighborhood.
moving this side of Josie and this.
Right,
side,
it's
that would
not
be-
like they've ever been in the Brookhaven, they've always been Valley View State, they're always their own little gladiators.
I see.
okay, gotcha, thank you.
Now, are the two little areas that might change are they kind of equally populated or,
Oh, no.
okay, that's, I didn't think so.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah,
the big
that's the
worms.
That's the, okay.
The
That's
big
the
worms.
can.
The big can of worms.
That we're not gonna open until after.
Right, so there's so if you think about it, there's only two ways the map changes, so
It's just
just,
because it's right on the line.
they're both on the
Right.
line.
Okay, makes sense, thank
Right,
you.
Right. So, what was I thinking? I don't know. Oh,
What were you thinking?
we did take a vote on 6 to become our primary map for now. And then, we're not abandoning 4. 4 can be our, because we had to give them like a option A and option B. Because we give them option A, we put all our eggs in one basket, they're gonna dump it over and break all the eggs, you know. It's just, they don't have to take our recommendation, that's the whole point. So we don't wanna just get hyper fixate on one and then we get nothing. So that's why we ought to do, we're gonna do 2. Aside from that, last meeting, we were productive with our census blocks, nothing's changed, no one else came with any others, right? What else? Anything, Bob, we need to consider? Any?
No, I don't think so, and I think in between 4 and 6, the main thing I look at, of course, is whether it complies with the law in both of those. I have confidence in both of them, and it really doesn't make much difference between 1 and the 2, between 4 and 6 from a legal standpoint. It's more a policy issue, and that's y'all's decision.
Is there a way, excuse my mouthful, is there a way that you all calculate the compactness of a district? Like if we needed to further score this and show that we made a percentage change to District 5's compactness in District 4, is there a way that that's calculated?
Yes, we can do that. And there are, Sherry, how many methods are there on our softwares? Not half a dozen?
Yeah,
Is there one that rises to the top more in the courts or in the?
Not really. It's, and I don't put a lot of stock in any of them, simply because one of them will have some characteristics, others will have another. Here, she's putting up the compactness scores.
I can't see that.
And a lot of it also depends on the outer boundaries of the city.
But that's a static thing. You are,
It's a static thing, but it's going to give you, will still give you a lower or higher compactness score.
I don't understand that. What do you mean?
Well, let me give you an example of a state. Rhode Island, which is, you have the outer boundary of that going in and out along the coastline, you've got islands and all sorts of stuff. Any district you draw in Rhode Island is going to have an irregular boundary, at least those that are on the edge of the state.
Okay.
And so those districts are going to have a low compactness score. If you have a district like, or a state like New Mexico, which is square, or Utah or something like that, those districts will probably be more compact because the outer boundary, which will be part of some of those districts, is going to be pre-compact. So, but, you know, we can look at those, but I think generally sort of looking at them and deciding what you think is compact is about as good as looking at all these different scores.
Okay, so what I heard you say is that based on the distance of the line, a straight line being shorter than a curved line, right? A squiggly line, that's what makes it more compact, correct?
Well, there are different methods, and as you see here, one of them, what's the perimeter of a circle with the same area as the district? Take the area of the district, how big of a circle would be drawn using that same area? And there are other, well, let's see. One is if you draw a district and then you draw a circle around it, how big, what's the radius of the circle that you would have to draw? If it's something that's an elongated district, it can be a very big circle, have a very high radius. If it's more compact, if it's shorter, it's going to be a different circle. There's a ratio. Here we go. This is telling you what all of them are. And it gets to be pretty complicated mathematical formula.
No thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Like I say, you know, generally you can look at them and tell what you think is compact.
Mm.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Now I completely understand. I will not be.
Yeah, it is.
Visual learning.
Bronson, get out your calculator.
Oh, my.
Formulas for you.
Fearless leader, there's your.
Okay, so,
You gotta figure it out.
Crystal clear?
yeah, that's perfect.
Locked in and just.
You can figure out the math and
Yeah, you got that?
decide.
Yeah,
Can you email that to me?
my third grade math is not working right
Yeah,
now.
right.
Okay, perfect. So this is like scientific though.
Luis is working it out right now.
I'm calculating right now.
Are you really?
Not reading emails.
Sure.
Are you really?
No, he's not.
No, I was checking a work email, to be honest. You guys went off on it.
You're like, yeah,
yeah, like-
I was not interested
I'm
in
over
what
here
you.
coloring lines. Yeah.
I'm reading emails. She's
I
filling
looked
in
at the
the.
pictures and said, nah,
It's
that's not
your
all.
trophy
okay,
for
so-
number 6 plan. Yeah.
Okay, Bob, so I got a quick question. So
Trophy for.
does the,
Oh, my.
That's awesome.
I just want to send it to my son and ask him if he can do it.
so does this ever come up like in the courts? Like, does this get like tried and they'll start talking about like
Character math witness.
something to the nth degree of compactness
I
versus?
have never been in a case where compactness score was an issue. Now, you know, where they looked at one of these methods and took the score and decided anything on that basis. In Chin versus City of Houston, where compactness was an issue, and that's one, if you're familiar with Houston, the Kingwood area, which is the extreme northeastern part of the city of Houston that was annexed, it's up at the north side of Lake Houston, was joined by a narrow connection to the extreme southeastern part of the city, which is Clear Lake City, which is down by Galveston Bay, along Galveston Bay. And that district was over 40 miles long. And so there were issues about that, probably not so much that it was non-compact, although people were concerned about that, but whether it was a racial gerrymander. If you have something that is non-compact, a lot of times it raises a red flag as to whether it is racially gerrymandered. And so you have cases that have been to the U.S. Supreme Court, and other district courts and so forth, where compactness is an issue, but generally it's because you're drawing something that's very uncompact, non-compact, to achieve some racial result. That's not what's happening here. And so, you know, I don't think compactness is something that the courts are going to get upset about or have any concern about on anything that we're doing here in Farmers Branch.
Perfect. Okay, but although when we drew our maps, some of them looked a lot more compact, and I think they made them more visually appealing.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing to do, and there are reasons to have things that are compact. But it's probably not going to get you into legal problems unless it's associated with a racial gerrymander.
Okay, so,
Our city footprint is so odd that it's, to get more compact, it's simply not possible. I mean, no matter what we do, we're gonna have, you know, a lot of fractures and, you know, you've got stair steps on the top right, you've got stair steps on the bottom, kind of bottom right, or top left.
right.
You know, you have all that stuff eaten out at the bottom by 635 and 35. We're just, I mean, our footprint just isn't conducive to being more compact than we are. So,
Right, okay, so let's have Bob and maybe Kevin play the devil's advocate. If this was to be challenged, what grounds could it be challenged upon?
How about you, Bob, but I'm having a hard time finding one.
Well, I don't know.
You know, again, dropping down below Valley View for District 1 is probably about the worst sin, and it's not bad, seriously, I mean, but.
But we didn't do that out of our own fruition. We did that to accomplish meeting the Charter 710
And I understand that.
and the resolution.
And I understand that, I'm just saying, you know, that's not necessarily mandated, it's, you know, you're supposed to take incumbents, but not necessarily candidates. But again, because of the nature of the development in that area and the, you know, particularly what happens on the western, kind of the eastern side of, well, it's that kind of central side of 3, being all that industrial, you know, it's really not that bad. I mean, if you're asking me to find something that's challengeable, that's about the only thing I can really see. And again, I think that's a stretch even at that. The way the rest of the district's put together. Especially.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jim.
No, go ahead.
What I would, if I were a plaintiff wanting to challenge it, number one, I wouldn't do that because I think it would be a loser case. But,
Exactly.
I think, you know, well, thing to remember too, anybody with filing fee can go down and bring a lawsuit. The question is it a good lawsuit? And, you know, you might say, well, really you should have drawn it to draw 2 predominantly Hispanic districts. Now, District 2 does have a Hispanic population majority, but it's, and even VAP, but it's not as strong as District 1. I would not do anything to weaken 1 to add to 2, because I think what you do in that case is run the risk of having no Hispanic districts.
Yeah.
I think the way that it is drawn now is better from a voting rights perspective. Now, there are instances where people bring suits, and I'll give you an example. In Dallas, city council redistricting, in the last decade. Now, this wasn't a lawsuit, I don't think, but there was a big effort to draw 5 Hispanic districts. I don't think it was possible to draw 5. What they ended up doing was drawing 4, which was stretching it, I think, too much. And in fact, I think they had 3 going into the process, and by stretching it to 4, they ended up with 2. Because, you know, my rule is, or the thing I say about redistricting, the major rule is, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. If you try to draw too many districts to accomplish a particular result, it probably doesn't work. So, what we have here, I think, is the better solution from a voting rights perspective than trying to weaken one to increase the Hispanic percentage in 2. Can I tell you, nobody would ever raise a lawsuit on that? I can't promise that, but I don't think that's a good lawsuit. I think you're on the better side of the issue.
Okay, I was just trying to look up the charter again. Because, Kevin, I promise you, I thought we were charged with not only the candidate, but as well as the incumbent.
I thought it was.
No, sir.
No, you all added the incumbent.
It happened
I mean, y'all
because,
added the candidate.
Yeah, I thought it was,
it happened because of our visitors.
Y'all added the
What,
candidate.
either the resolution said,
No, there is one that says, I'm about to pull it up, one says candidate.
Yeah, it's a candidate.
Because I already have the,
Did that-
resolution does not say it, I think it's the charter.
No, charter does not say candidate, I promise you.
yeah, it didn't, yeah, because that's what I.
You all
what was that
elected on
first-
your
that
own
first
to
meeting,
draw
right?
for the candidates.
Yeah, that first meeting that we had.
We had that
First or second.
long discussion about that.
Yes.
You
Yeah, I think we did that.
decided
because-
rather than have to worry about undoing something because of the election results, you decided to go and take into consideration at the front end
Right.
and then see what the election results are
Okay.
and undo
Here we go, I found it, here we go.
So we couldn't
Here.
just draw the line at Valley View.
This is the
because we
charter,
have
this
the
is
Candidate.
section 4 in C. It says the reconfiguration of districts shall be neutral as to incumbents or potential candidates. Potential,
neutral though.
neutral. This is neutral, right?
No, neutral means we don't, we
We don't-
could
you
choose
don't
to not
take
do anything about it.
Like, to me, if we were neutral, we wouldn't have even had them on the map.
The thing, Ron, is that it's because of our visitors we had, I think, the first, second, and perhaps third meeting.
Well, then shame on me because I read this as we needed to accept them because I wouldn't have put them on there.
Well, I think it makes sense to have them on here.
Well,
I mean, that's
It's not necessarily a
fine.
bad thing.
Okay, I'm gonna read it one more time. Okay, so this is, there's
Yeah, I may-
There's
I may
5
have
pieces
forgotten
that says the redistricting commission shall draw the districts in compliance with the following guidelines. Number 4, the reconfiguration of districts shall be neutral as to incumbents or potential candidates.
that. I will stand corrected.
I read that to be,
I read this as we need to include them so we don't have someone get elected that is not in the district. And then they get to serve for 3 years and then can't rerun. That's how I was explained that night to me.
And that's what we discussed
Yeah,
right, we talked about
over a
that.
couple of meetings.
yeah.
But,
So Kevin, I will make sure I'm right?
I will, I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
I think it can be seen either way. That's the beauty of the word neutral, it can be seen either way. It's, I mean, it's done, it's fine.
yeah, either way, but
But
it says both have to be, you have to be neutral as to both, not neutral as to one and not
Sure.
neutral as. yeah.
But I think we need to listen, I mean, I heard Bob very clearly say, if we start messing with one, it's conceivable we're gonna mess up our, is it majority district?
Yes.
And that's the district that we were just talking about, we might mess with.
But the changes would make only improve it. So I don't want us to go.
It would?
It does, it does.
Okay.
It does.
I mean, I don't know the numbers over there, but,
Yeah.
And I don't want to go down that
Actually,
trail
approves
right
one
now.
and two, but we'll do that next week. We got,
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
don't
set
wanna
a
go through the trail.
70-minute timer. I promise you.
Take your notes.
We're gonna have a kitchen timer. It's a ding.
It's all good. I mean, and I think we continue to respect what's requested, but I so heard the lawyer say,
I know,
Be
I
mindful.
thought they said that, yeah. it- More like this, I thought it was.
we'll look at the numbers then, right? We'll look at the numbers
Let's
then.
just let, we're 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll figure it
it's all
out.
good.
I think we're just trying to like stay here as long as we can.
Right, I mean, I can move to adjourn.
I agree, Jessica.
So we just wanted to pull a little.
Okay,
Are you trying to stay away from
Each
home?
just to go work out that math.
here we go. So,
No, not that one. Graduate?
here we go. So we know where we're at. We made some good, well, you've been quiet this meeting. I'm not happy. Let's, yeah, you.
Blow it up, let's
You've
go.
normally been really talkative and you always tell us how you feel. We've made map changes because of you,
Yeah.
in your voice. So what's going on tonight?
Picking on her?
No, I want to make sure her voice is heard. I'm empowering her voice. I'm putting the
I like
microphone to it.
I like
Right
it.
now. Here's the microphone, right here.
I'm good with it. I'm excited to reconvene at our next meeting to see if there are any potential changes that we could
Yeah, I
or
think
should make.
that's where we're
But I
at.
think we did a really good job. I like 6.
Perfect. I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
You did it, oh my gosh.
It's a record.
Our shortest meeting.